Guy,
Is the governor joining?
I don't know yet.
I'm working on
Oh, you could probably speak to this. A little bit. Good, good.
Okay,
We're live, Donnie.
okay, I'd like to call a meeting to order. It's 5:30 on my watch. It's Wednesday, August 9th. It's the Public Works Committee meeting. All present there. If you could do a roll call over, and it looks like I got Brandon and Caleb there, and Bob and Amy, right?
yep.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's stand and salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
July 12th, 2023 Public Works minutes.
I had a chance to review the minutes. Everything looked to be in order. Brandon Crone motion to approve the minutes as presented for the July 12th, 2023 Public Works meeting.
Caleb Garn, second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Public comment on agenda items.
So I think this is where you might want Becca Whitlock to talk about the street use permit. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, if she's on, I don't think it would hurt.
Yeah, I'm on. Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Hey, Becca,
Okay.
we can hear you fine.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks for having us on. Kim Dunleap and I got together a few weeks ago and we're brainstorming some things that we could do to celebrate the opening of the bridge and whatnot. And given my past involvement with the St. Croix River Bridge crossing opening, when that opened a few years back, she asked if I would help lead the committee. So we put together a committee. We had our kickoff meeting on last Friday. We had a great brainstorming session, and we recognized that although we do not yet have a date for the event because there are so many moving parts, we wanted to make sure that we got in our street use permit in case we need to close off any roads or whatnot, to make sure we get that involved or in the process of being considered by your board and your committee. And also for an application, they decided that you know, there's Somerset sort of split. There's a lot of events that we do that involve alcohol, because we like to celebrate, and it's Wisconsin, right? But there's also some people who prefer to have family-friendly, non-alcoholic events, and so we've kind of put together a little plan to have some events that are not around alcohol, and others where people can enjoy themselves that way if they wish to. So hence the application for the temporary liquor license and the open carry permit. I did submit also our certificate of liability insurance that the chamber carries. The chamber will be the point organization on that, and then the Somerset Champions we're collaborating with them. So any questions for me?
Typically we don't do it back and forth. Is that fine, Donnie? We have a
Okay, I
question.
didn't know how you did that.
No, that's all right, Becca. We just want to make sure, do we have to just suspend the rules for that, Donnie? Would that be appropriate?
I don't see any issue with that. If you guys are all in agreement.
Yeah, I'm agreed.
Caleb?
I agree.
All right, then. Questions?
Perfect. My question would be, so on this application, it is asking, so empty lot between Sportsman, Desert Road, Dick's parking lot, and from the light at the corner all the way up to Main Street intersection. So you want to close Main Street, that whole intersection by DQ all the way up to
Light at Holiday at that intersection, keeping
Past
Spring Street
Holiday?
open. No, keeping Spring Street open. So just from that corner where the empty lot and Holiday are to the end of the bridge. There is, we have actually a request into the governor's office and potential joint event with WISDOT. So if that occurs, there is some talk of needing sort of a staging area, which may bleed into that intersection that Andrew, I think his last name's Huntley, the project manager, said would be completed and functional by the beginning of September. However, the committee was pretty adamant about trying really hard not to close off roads. This is sort of a, I don't know, a preemptive, I guess, in case we need it type of permit. I hate to put it in those words, but I'm not sure. Caleb, you want to speak to that a little bit? You were there at that meeting.
Sure. So I attended the meeting that we were working on this, and our goal is to not close off the road. If the governor shows up and it becomes more of an affair, we might close
That's
it
for
off
security. Yeah.
some short amount of time.
So is this right, so you're proposing right before September 2nd, like, or September 1st, the day before the
No,
bridge?
we're actually discussing probably mid-September. And I actually talked to the governor's office this morning. It may actually be October.
So our goal, if we can get the governor to show up, that takes precedent for the event. We want to celebrate with the governor. So that's the thought around delaying the actual celebration of the bridge opening.
Will we settle for nothing less than the governor? Will we take the lieutenant governor or what? or-
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We also talked about state senators and state representatives. So whoever we can get to come that will maybe, you know, give Somerset some good publicity. That's sort of the precedent.
Will Rob come down? Staff will?
We have some emails out to,
His office.
we have some emails out to, emails that are going out in the morning to the state senators and state representatives and local, and US senators and representatives.
So we would potentially need to have a special session then to actually, or what would we want to actually figure this out, or
I guess,
were you just asking for us to leave this open-ended for you to have a street use permit from end of, well, let's see, this doesn't even cover till October.
it wouldn't.
Because they
go
told
that-
us middle of September. Today I was told end of October.
Oh, so that's a new development.
Yeah, I've got some info. Our next meeting is tomorrow evening that I'll share with the committee. So, yeah, and I can resend that in. Again, we didn't. So, okay, maybe I'm not explaining this well. I apologize. The idea was we had been told that intersection would be fully functional, and the north-south lines were going to be completed by September 1st. He actually wasn't. He didn't know that the buses were going to be running on the 29th and 30th, but they are. So they may be done on the 29th or 30th. What he was saying, he may have to kick it in gear a couple of days early. But then the east-west line going up, he said, was going to has until the end of October, is what WISDOT told me today. So unfortunately, again, just needing to have these pieces in place as we kind of begin to put some of those puzzle pieces in place of who's coming, what the date might look like. We just wanted to get it on the boards and the committee's docket, I guess. So yes, it is a little open-ended.
If I'm hearing you right, you're looking for a few hours or a total day shutdown?
If the governor comes, it would be probably a few hours. If he doesn't come, or we don't have a big VIP person coming, then the committee had said maybe just shut it down for, you know, maybe only even a half hour or less to do like a ribbon cutting, but really trying hard not to inconvenience the community again by shutting down roads, but having this in place in case we have to. Because if the state senator or the governor does wind up coming, then there's security issues and they'll have to have that closed off for his protection, is what I was told today.
What is the surrounding area gonna look like? Because we know we're gonna be able to drive through there, and
we'll be able to get cars through there, but as far as like all of the curb work and all of the stuff, all that's gonna be cleaned up and gone by September 1st.
So they have until September 7th for this project on Main and Spring to be done.
Yeah, they've got a ton of concrete and
They
stuff
have a
in
lot
that
of
one lot that we're
restoration work.
looking to.
So restoration work will definitely be ongoing, so there'll still be equipment here. We can shift them, but, you know, just know that there's still gonna be ongoing work. September, October.
Yeah, it's gonna be all the way through the construction season.
I
really,
don't
isn't it?
know if it will be conflicting with anything, but just know that things are gonna be happening still.
What I was told this morning too, that they had until November for something, Bob.
October 31st, yeah, November 1st for final completion on this.
Yeah,
That might be, yeah, no, it is final.
and she thought that the governor might be more susceptible to come once the project is completed. But then I got a call from the governor's office today and they're looking at a schedule. So once I hear back, I obviously can let you know more immediately, but I'm not sure. I do apologize. That's like our main goal is we need a date if we're gonna do this, but the committee's consensus was, let's find out what the governor's plans are first and then we'll go from there. So in the meantime, we'll just continue to plan some of the activities and things like that and get our permits in place. And if you'd like, if it's easier for you, I can also reapply later. Again, if it occurs in September, we thought maybe it'd be best to do it now. So, but if it's causing a problem, we can withdraw the permit request and then refill it out if you'd prefer that.
If the road is currently closed down and then it opens up, then you're looking to reclose it down. Yeah, we'd probably want to, consider that and be more dialed in. But if the road is already kind of closed down and you're going to have this celebration kind of pre-open, reopening it, and it can be coordinated that way, then you could take that into consideration here today. But if you're going to, because you're kind of having a celebration pre-opening or having this, ordeal opening the road. So I think if you're looking at 3 hours or 4 hours of, having a celebration, now the open carry and all that stuff, that's a different department for us. We're just looking at what we have there. As long as Bob is, it's coordinated with Bob, for making sure that there's no, construction going on during that time or, stuff in the way. That's what I'd be concerned about.
Okay.
So the committee's target, Donnie, was to move it with the potential of the governor or some other higher political figure coming. And that would determine the date of the celebration. So
I think since you have everything filled out here, you already have your insurance and everything, I think we should get those dates and figure out what those dates are. And if we need to have a special session for it, I would support having a special session. Otherwise, we can move it right to the village board. Probably if it lands in between a public work session and a village board session. If we wanted to.
well, my
amend
question
it,
is, can't we grant an open-ended?
I won't sign up for that. Yes. Because when we'd have to, what if it goes to October?
We wouldn't do it. It's too late.
Well, I don't know, the way this stands right now, I would like a little more details. I guess we can talk about that when we get to the actual agenda item.
The timing is a huge piece of this, because if we're gonna close this down on a weekday at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's not gonna be well.
Possible.
Yeah, guys,
Yeah, I don't feel
excuse me if I could interject. Like I said, the committee is committed to keeping that road open. The only reason it would close is if a higher public figure was able to come and their security requires us to close it off. In which case, we just want to have the permit in place. Does that make sense? But the committee recognizes it's been such a hassle, like we don't want the community mad at us because we closed the road again. Like,
They're gonna
that's
get
not
mad
the
at
goal.
Me.
Or you, yeah, we don't want to get Bob in trouble either.
When one way or the other, I'm gonna be the bad guy in this.
We're all gonna be the bad guy
Oh.
together, Bob.
Yeah,
That's what will happen, but that's my. Tensions are high right now with residents,
yes, they are.
because they can see the end of the tunnel. They're getting antsy. It's kind of reminds me of springtime when it snows and there's plowing going on again. People
It's fixed.
Are a little crabby and
Yeah,
they have the right to be.
yeah.
So we're working as diligently as we can to open this thing up without any type of delay. So I just kind of
Right.
want to make sure and mention that.
Okay, well, I think that we can probably close that part of the public comment then, unless anyone else has any further questions, and then.
Anybody else have comments at all on online?
No,
Yeah, it sounds like more details. We can talk about it when we get to it again too.
Then we'll,
Thank you.
well, if we have any other questions, Becca, we might tap you back in here as we get down to dealing with that, but we'll close public comment.
Yeah, I'll still be on. I'll just mute myself, and if you need me later, that's fine.
Okay, well, do you want to, gentlemen, do you want to make a motion to bring that agenda item up right now and address it, or do you want to continue on down through the
Sure,
agenda?
no, I think as long as we're on it, we might as well stay on it. So Brandon Crone, I make a motion to move. Oh, where is this one?
6C.
Six C of new business, up to, the current agenda item in front of 4A.
I'll make it. All right, motion made and seconded to move 6C up to before 4A. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay? Okay, motion carried. So we're on agenda item of the street use permit, as we've already kind of discussed that. I'll open it up for further discussion.
So I'll start with based off everything we just heard right now and based off what we have. First off, love it, great idea, all for it. I need more details, just need a few more details as far as like when timing gets locked in. I'm all for a special session. I think we can waive the fee for that if we were gonna do something like that. I know there's supposed to be a special session fee or something like that, but I would be in favor of coming down and having a special session if we needed to, or putting it on the village board agenda to discuss it. But I think we definitely need those details of, is the governor gonna be here and how long we're gonna close, and when it's gonna happen. So just a little bit more details would be my take on it.
So we're hoping for too. So hopefully within the next few days or next week, I'll have those details. I'm sort of being the squeaky wheel a little bit, so I can make sure we get those for everybody.
Well, rather than acting on this any further, then maybe we could just table this to the village board meeting, pending further information at that point in time, and bring it up. And hopefully by the board meeting, we'll have a little better idea what the governor's schedule is going to be, if he's going to be coming out or not, and whether or not it needs to be acted on in September, or if it can be handled at the board meeting here in August. If you guys are all in a favor of that, we could just table it until then with further information, forthcoming.
I would second that motion.
the board meeting is Tuesday, so I don't know how much information she'll get before.
Well, she just said that she was going to have some more information here in the next day or so. So hopefully I would hope that she would have some, with the governor there. And if they don't, then we'd have to address it in special session, I guess.
I'm hoping for it, and I'm going to keep calling their office, but I can't guarantee it.
Mhm.
We'll try and give them a call too. We got our little books back here. Here's your book. Call up governor at Beaver.
So motion made and seconded to table the the street use request to the village board meeting pending further clarification and information, right?
Yes, sir.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, nay. Motion carried. All right. Thanks, Becca, for your information. Any more you can bring forward would be great. Hopefully we'll get it before next Tuesday.
No problem. Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Becca.
Project updates.
Chuck is not able to make it. He is at a training this week, so I can go through the updates provided by NSA. Growing Wings Utility Extension, that work will be scheduled to start once the bridge and the north-south leg of Churchill's paved. Otherwise, we're cutting off complete access to the businesses on Parent Street. So sometime in September, that work will go very quick because it's all clean dig excavation. So there's really nothing to work around. So that should be a very quick project. Spring and Main Street improvements. They're pouring today, flat work, starting on the north side of Spring, and they're working their way towards Main Street. They're a bit ahead of schedule, so that's good. They'll flip over to Main Street and start pouring that potentially by the end of this week or next week, and that is on the north side of Main Street. They'll do the removals of the south side of Main Street once that concrete's cured on the north side of Main Street, so we still have pedestrian access there at all times. Any questions on that so far?
We're ahead of schedule, it looks like, or slightly
We're a couple days.
on schedule.
We're a couple days ahead. They're moving good, real quick.
I get the, every time I say it's gonna be done September 2nd, I get the eye rolls, and I said.
They literally have run into no issues, no surprises, good weather. There's a few extra panels we did have to take out, mainly due to ADA compliance. We had a 10% slope on a piece of sidewalk that we took out, and there was more non-compliance issues that we talked about, and I said, let's pull it out, because we do have compliance officers come here and check our grades of our sidewalks after projects. So the last thing we need is them to say, this isn't compliant, take it out, and we're back messing around.
Yeah, no,
What we
absolutely.
did.
It should be right.
Yeah, so, and I, like I said before, this is a tough project to figure out where we should take and not take some concrete that has got some, regular problems with it, so. But for the most part, things are going as expected for that.
Good.
Comprehensive plan development assistance, that's something NSA is helping with the plan commission right now. That's going well. Main Street Bridge, they are substantially done with the bridge work itself. They're doing some cleanup and just some minor things right now, but the bulk of that work is completed.
Can we walk across it?
Not yet, because what we have to do is our utility tie-ins, and that work will start tomorrow. And will continue for the next couple weeks.
Okay.
And one piece that we're still waiting on is the hangers for the pipe. And if the hangers for the pipe don't show up, it's gonna delay things. It will not delay the opening of the bridge, because they can do that work from underneath. But we need to get our utility tie-ins, because we have storm and we have water and sewer that cross in front of the bridge. So we have to make those tie-ins, otherwise we can't open up the bridge. So that work's gonna occur tomorrow.
What's the holdup with the tie-ins? Obviously it's already ordered, it's just on a truck somewhere and it just hasn't been delivered, or?
Just
Back order.
equipment delays.
Several weeks. So we're looking for alternatives. We have a shop snow right now that we're currently reviewing to make sure that works. So
What's it made out of? Plastic,
Steel.
steel, and it's gotta be machined?
Well, there's a bunch of things, that we need approval on. One is it can vibrate and not come loose, and then support the weight of the main and
So you need so many certifications and
And
stuff like that.
understand how far away they need to be from each other to, can they go in the exact same place? That's the part of the engineering that's underway right now. So
And you're working with Chuck in that.
we have a meeting, a status meeting tomorrow.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds
So
like you're.
Josh
What
Sweden was,
what about the fence, on the other, is that getting replaced? What's the deal with that?
it's we're leaving alone,
We're leaving it alone?
leaving it alone. So
I'm perfectly fine with that. If you guys are okay, it'll hold up.
yeah, we kind of made an executive decision, and that was really cranking that price up. And for what we were getting out of it,
It wasn't like an under 70 grand or something.
no,
It's more like 100.
140 up to in the 200,000.
We're gonna get some angry calls from Todd Lee on that one, probably.
He's got my number. There's some challenges with that too for the installation that price he got for that, let's just call 150, that was if the installation
Went well.
need to go, but if it didn't, then it triggered all kinds of additional things, and we just said, you know what? Or
I mean,
No, we didn't.
inspections,
Just to
Well-
clarify, we didn't touch that at all. It's still up, right?
it's still up,
Yeah,
correct?
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Okay.
That'd be a good thing for the Somerset United to fund maybe.
Wastewater treatment facility, it's super busy down there right now. Electrical work, continues. They're wrapping a lot of that up right now. Pumps are getting installed, so your tank is gonna get filled and
Early?
tested for leaks.
When?
Sometime this month.
It's in
So-
August, right?
We're pushing them hard.
Good.
And things are really starting to come together there. You know, they've got a completion date of October 13th, so they're gonna run close. But they're doing well. Churchill, so the north-south leg is going to be paved and the intersection is going to be paved and open by that August deadline. The east-west leg is still gonna be under construction, and they're gonna continue paving that after August. So just so everyone is clear, there's still gonna be some paving going on and restoration and some trail being placed on that east leg going past the fire department, Quick Trip.
Bob, will they be able to come down past the church then and utilize the bridge and intersection there? And or are they just gonna shut off from the Dairy Queen intersection up towards Quick Trip? Or are they going to leave the whole thing closed down while they're doing that work?
Oh, so going east and west, that'll be under construction with traffic. So
Control.
traffic will be able to.
Okay,
That's got 2 lanes, right?
What they do is they pave 2 lanes on,
Okay.
eastbound, right now it's the eastbound lane. And what they do then is it's a narrow, it's a 9-foot driving lane, so it's tight, but it's passable.
That's 2 lanes, right? We're gonna have 2 lanes going both ways.
One
One lane going each way.
That's what's gonna be at the finish.
2-lane road. Winesap and River Hills, we're still working with that developer to finish their punch list. Engineers were with them today. Again, stress some urgency. I talked to the other contractor, got some things straightened out. So I expect those to be finished up.
Has there been any progress has there been any progress with Shannon and,
I have a meeting with them tomorrow,
okay,
so.
is there a chance that we can get the punch lists and what has been, put forth and what has been accomplished and what hasn't by next meeting, so that we can review that and know what, because we said by September, if we didn't have, a substantial completion on these things, that we'd consider taking this stuff over, right?
Yep.
So it would be nice to have that punch list and know what's been done and what hasn't been done, so we could, and what that, look at what that cost is going to be.
Absolutely. Sure, get that out to you. The task management, the GIS, the app, Jeff Paul from MSA will be at the board meeting to do hopefully a brief just demonstration on that. Broadband, I have something in the packet on that.
Wait, you skipped over River Hills, or did I miss
I
that?
just combined it with
Oh, okay.
that.
Have you looked at any of that, Kurt, any of that work they've done out there on the driveways and stuff like that?
That was discussed today.
Perfect. As I talked to Tony about that, he said that was good.
That'll all get fixed.
Perfect, thank you.
And then TID 6, we continue to discuss that with Capstone and some planning discussions.
So we go back to broadband quick. Sorry.
Yes.
So pretty much when we looked at that, it says it kind of started off hot, and then we kind of need a techie guy if we're gonna do that. And do we have one of those on?
Not on staff.
Not on,
Currently.
not on staff. We don't have like someone in town locally that we know that's super good with the computer that just would want to work as running the internet in town.
For free.
So if there's anyone out there that is good with computers and the internet and would like to help us, we could then get municipal broadband, but if not, it's not looking very good. Donnie, was that kind of what you got from that email as well?
Well, I think they also said in there that they might be able to talk to other broadband providers about their abilities of obtaining grants and or moving into these areas as well. Rather, I know what you're saying, Brandon, and I didn't disagree with what you were, feeling about it being a utility. However, after getting the information from MSA, it didn't look like that was probably the smartest thing for us to be dealing with, because a lot of the places that went into using that broadband as a utility have either gotten out of it, except for, I think, Waterloo, Iowa, I believe was what I had read in the email. So maybe it's better to engage some of the broadband providers as to their interest and or ability to enter into this marketplace.
How do we do that, Bob? Do you have a contact at Qualcomm or someone that
First,
you
you
can
need
call?
to understand the level of commitment that is for another service provider to come in. So Comcast wanted to come in and put millions of dollars of infrastructure in the ground. They'd want to be guaranteed customers. Without that guarantee, it's not a good investment.
So our market's just too small right now.
Well, communities need to be pretty big in order for that to happen. Richmond, Hudson, none of them have. Richmond split with Northwest Communications and Frontier. Hudson is, I don't remember. So that's the thing that would prevent any competitor to come in here, would be reassurance that, hey, I'm gonna get, it's kind of like running Midwest Gas and having Xcel Energy come and put gas in too. Well, what assurances do we have that they're gonna buy our gas from us?
So how do we go about getting better service from Northwest?
I think through my discussion with Chuck and Art, it was really getting together with Northwest Communications and telling them this is what we want to see as far as improvements.
Would you like me to initiate that conversation, or do you want to initiate it, or?
Sure.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do have a local business called Sunnylink Systems that does all sorts of tech in that realm.
So we could ask them too, if what they think professional, what their professional opinion would be on
Right.
supporting something like that, and actually get a cost associated to it. Cause it does, with the grants, would it be that much to, everything would cost money to do, right? But if we could get millions of dollars, there's millions of dollars out there, there's $245 million sitting out there for broadband in communities like ours. So if we could get even 10 million of that,
240 in the state.
yeah, for the whole state, for rural areas.
But you keep in mind, I mean, we are a growing, community, and there are a lot of, areas for expansion, like Hudson and so on and so forth, that we're able to tap some of those as well, those grants. And I think that might be something worthwhile for us to, at least try to entertain with, and it'd be nice if you could get somebody that was, other than Northwest, in that current industry that would say, yeah, I think we could probably get a grant and be able to move into that area and start bringing some of that infrastructure in, and the customers will come. I can assure you of that.
So I think we gotta have a two-pronged solution, is we gotta start, at least get a contact with Northwest and start at least pressuring them to do something to make their service better and bury the lines on time. We can change ordinances to make sure that they can't leave a line sitting out there for months on end. So we can start forcing some of that and at least start having that conversation, because right now we're not doing anything. So that's the first prong, and the second prong is just trying to see if there's anything else out there that anyone else we could get in here by some ways and means with some type of grants or something.
Well, I'll make the argument that I have an alternative solution at my home that works
So-
way better.
So I looked it up. I went home after I left your place to see if I could get it. I can't get it at my house. No one in my neighborhood can get it.
You can't get T-Mobile either.
Nope.
Are you talking about like Verizon, home internet, or, yeah, I can't get it either, unfortunately.
Box.
So they only service half the community too. If
Yeah.
that.
I wonder why that is.
That might be another different option though, too, is, talking with one of those cell phone providers as well.
My internet's far cheaper and far better than.
Yeah, rub it in. Rub it in. We know. All right, I think we,
Connect with Tim from Sunnylink, because he's worked a lot with Northwest and has a relationship. That
you
might
know
be-
Tim,
I do.
you guys phone number,
I can get it.
get me his
He's
information.
former chamber guy.
Maybe you and I can tag team him. No one can resist our charm.
Except Amy.
Yeah. All right, I think we have beat that horse to death. We got two people we're gonna call. We'll do Sunnylink. We'll get a hold of Tim from Sunnylink, and I'll try and get a hold of someone at Northwest, and we'll start there. So. Thank you for looking into it, Bob. I appreciate it. I didn't think it was gonna be, you should have known it was going to be much more difficult when I asked that, but at least we tried. I think that's all.
Does that conclude the general update on active projects then? All right,
Thank you.
unfinished business, 5A. Updates and improvements on parks and walkthrough.
They still continue to pick away. I think, they have just about everything that we could do in-house at Larry Forest and some of the other parks completed.
Did the painting and stuff like that get done, or do we got to see about,
Yeah.
what?
They were painting, I think last week, and they're all full of paint. I asked one if he had actually just rolled around in it because he was covered in it. So. there was my-
What about leveling out that sign at Larry Forest?
I guess I don't know, Donnie,
Was that specific
I haven't
on the
looked.
list?
Yeah, it was on the list. Larry Forest had the sign that was in there was like out of level, and it was pointed, actually, Bob, you pointed it out, so I put it on the list. So I didn't know if they got it done, because I haven't been down there to look.
Yeah, and I haven't had the opportunities to really get to the parks and take a look. It's just my plate's full right now, so
Understood.
I'll make some time on it.
For mine, I saw they got rid of the picnic table in Joe Casey's. I saw that is now in the disc golf course, which is cool. It's a good spot for it. Are we gonna replace that picnic table though?
Yeah.
Perfect, okay, thank
That
you.
was budgeted as well.
I have, as long as we're on updates for improvements in parks and walk through all together, I thought this would be a good place to bring us up is what's our plan with Village Park down under the bridge after the bridge is done? What are we gonna do with that area down there? It's all overgrown and I spent a lot of time walking through that park at this point.
Yeah.
Now that the bridge has been closed, and I know we don't really have a huge budget for that.
We don't have a concrete plan for that right now.
Okay.
But certainly something, let's talk about it.
And, okay, maybe an agenda item for later.
Is
I'll,
is that trail conception there that we talked about? Is that is that gonna come to fruition there with the grant, or is that, Bob, you had mentioned about doing like a switchback on there coming down into that lower part of the,
Dairy Queen
park.
on, that'll be a kind of a side project of the trail project. Yeah, because that's not identified in our scope of work in the trail
okay,
with the grant we got, so we have to do it as a separate item. But it's advantageous for us to do that when that work is slated to begin, just because we have the add-on for the contractor to do that.
okay,
So, and we're
Yeah.
looking at 2025 for the trail grant work to be done. So right now they're doing a lot of design work, trying to figure out some challenge areas where we're not trying to buy real estate.
so really, we need a short-term plan, or we need to do some short-term maintenance then until we have a long-term plan. Is there any way we can send the guys down there and just get at it with like weed trimmer? Get
I
down
can
there
see
and
with
clean
how
it
their
up a little
time,
bit.
how their time is.
Appreciate it, Bob.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, it's not worth putting a whole bunch of, doesn't sound like it's worth putting a whole bunch of time and effort into it when it's gonna be changing next couple of years. Probably might as well just clean her up if we can.
Caleb, I don't mean to put more on your plate, but have you had a chance to go through any of the parks over in your neck of the woods?
I did. Things are looking pretty good. There's the trash barrels could use a paint job. Most of the signage is looking pretty sad and worn. Potentially some replacement. Most of it was wood signage that I was noticing was worse for wear. Without really scrutinizing, I mean, the equipment, they're sure it'd be great to have nice, shiny, new, exciting, fun stuff, but what exists is working and functional and not falling apart, so.
Did you take pictures and or get a list together to give to the guys so they can have a punch list?
I did make a list, it's just at home.
Okay, your dog ate it? No.
I didn't bring it.
Well, as soon as you have your list, just give them to Bob and sort of start shaking them off, kind of like,
I jotted those down.
okay.
That was pretty much it. It's not in too rough a shape.
So I think that we made it through all the parks and, oh, except there was one more in the Meadows, not the Meadows, Pine Cliff.
Joe Casey?
No, not Joe Casey, the one next to Pine Cliff, not Pine Cliff,
Whispering Pine?
Whispering Pines, there's one in there too.
Hey, that's where you sent the stuff, wasn't it?
No, that was mine, Joe Casey was in the River Hills, I'll swing through the.
Okay.
I have one more part to check.
Okay.
Okay, so we're on to 5. We've already talked about task management, right?
Yep.
And so we're on 5C, Larry Forest Ball Field Agreement.
I think last we spoke, we were just gonna strike out that part about storing signs in the,
So item 1.6, I added approval from village board is required for all improvement work. 3 was struck. And added number 8 for the reimbursement fee for dragging fields.
That $50, who's covering that? The school?
Yep.
Okay, if there's other individuals or companies or corporations that, will come into, that will need the fields drug for something, would they be assessed that as well?
I need to talk with youth baseball about some things first. Before we get too far into that.
Right. Well, I just didn't want to get, I want to make sure we're not just going after like the school district, because the school district kind of had that one dedicated pretty much for them, but I know there's other groups that use that one too, at least that I've been told. And so that one ball field, if it's, I know it's pretty much dedicated for specific baseball because you can't move the mounds or anything like that. But we also got a per user fee of $10 that we were talking about. Was it $10 per student or I'm trying to get the right word for it. Per individual?
Yep, that's what we currently do.
So that generates about $900 a year according to the budget that I've seen.
Okay.
And if we're dragging the field and it takes what, 2 hours to drag a field?
A little over a half an hour.
Okay, so 3 fields would be an hour and a half then, right?
Yep,
So that'd be about $150 and they get drugged once a week or twice a week on this, what's it state on this?
well, it's in every home game, so if they have
10 of them?
6 away, it's 6 for baseball, 6 for softball, 6 for JV, baseball, and 6 for JV softball.
So
If
that
they're all
was, that's 24 then, right?
Well, I think the JV softball uses the same field.
Oh,
JV baseball uses Village Park.
so that would be if you're, so how many would that be then total? 18?
Yeah. That's what I got.
At 150, at 100, about 150 bucks, a time?
Would they be using 3 fields? at a time?
Okay, yeah, so JV baseball at Village Park, girls softball at Larry Forest, and boys varsity at Larry Forest.
18. Well, it would only, but one, you wouldn't count each game then. 18, you'd only count 3 one night, right?
Well, each field's a different field to drag, so it's the same amount of, essentially the same amount of time.
I'm just looking at, if we were to drag all if we were to drag all 3 fields 18 times, that'd be $2,700. And I understand that we have a portion of it to maintain as a village, and that's cool. But that's more like 1/3 to 2/3 if we're only getting 900 in revenue back. And that's just on dragging. That doesn't involve any cutting of the grass or any of that other stuff. So the reimbursement of $50 per field, would that offset some of that 2,700, in addition to the 900 that we're getting for those other fees then?
I would have to verify who we got the fees paid from.
Right. And that, I'm still, that was last year's budget and this year's budget stayed the same, and it's kind of on their honor is what I've been told.
It is.
But there's other individuals and businesses that use that the ball field too, right? Like Impact, I think we had a tryouts there yesterday or the day before, I think it's called. I seen it posted on,
I'm not aware that we drug any fields yesterday.
okay, all right. I guess the question is, do you feel that this is this agreement is adequate for the board to accept, Bob?
Well, it still has to go to the school for them to say okay with it.
Okay. So it hasn't been, it has to go to them yet?
Right.
Is there anything else you guys want to add?
No, the only thing I had to add was I did have some conversations with a member of the township board, town board. They said they would be willing to provide some materials, or they'd be willing to provide some funds for some materials, like anything for the fields, for chalk or something like that, so
Okay.
if we might want to reach out to those guys or talk to them. They said their kids use the ball fields too, so they'd be more than willing to help pitch in on some of that stuff.
So with that, the adding of the $50 in there, like I said, Bob, is that something that are you happy with this agreement to go to the school?
Yeah, I think it gives us a good guideline to go by and something to, if there's questions on something, we can point it out in this agreement.
Is there anything that we need to talk about then per pupil or per user? So you were saying that usage fee, or is that gonna just kind of stay to where it's at? The $10 per.
I would replace, the $50 would replace that. What happens if girls softball has 12 girls one year? Or boys baseball has 12 kids? It is a fluctuation there that it's like, okay, well, this didn't cover anything. And the village taxpayers paid for it. The user fee for youth, I have a little bit of a concern that we just keep that as it is. Those are a little bit quicker of drags because things don't have to be quite as meticulous. So those they can get in and out of a lot quicker. And you do have, 4 teams playing on the same field a night, 3 or 4. So I just don't want that to become a financial burden for families and not electing to put their kids in a sport if we were to increase the price significantly. Youth athletics has always been really good about throwing money into the fields themselves. So that's another piece that, is always appreciated.
Okay, do we have anything else on this? I think, I don't think we need a motion or anything on it. You're just gonna take this to the
I'll bring it to Trent. Trent can
Somerset or the board.
handle it with his board and see where it goes.
Okay,
Once it's been approved by them, then it comes back to the full village board then, or what?
Yep, you guys are fine with that?
good plan.
All right. Is there any need for us to continue discussion with internet service providers?
No, sir.
We kind of jumped ahead a little bit on the agenda on that. I apologize, Amy, but
Okay,
We're very passionate on that one.
I can tell.
You feel the passion.
so kayak presentation, that's been tabled. The champions have relinquished their presentation for that, so that's off the agenda. So pay app Main Street pay app 1.
30K.
Pay more. Is this for the bridge? Bridge? Is this what this one's for? Stuff for the bridge? Expansion joint, yes.
It's been recommended, I assume, by MSA that this be approved for recommendation for approval at the village board then?
Yep.
What's the pleasure of this committee?
Make a motion that we move this to the village board for a vote.
Motion been made to recommend approval of pay app 1. Do we have an amount in there, Caleb?
Um,
Right here in front.
First page under remarks,
Page.
first sentence.
269,000.
the 86,260.
You got the wrong sheet.
This
Yeah,
one right
we're
here.
on the Main Street Bridge.
Okay, don't panic.
I always mess up when I say it.
That's on the next one. Just keep that number handy.
Yep, there's another,
There you go, two.
2,600 or $269,645.16.
Brandon Crowe, second.
Motion made and seconded to approve Main Street pay app, recommend approval to the village, to the board, pay app 1 in that amount. And any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, nay. Motion carried. We've already kind of jumped over C, so 6D is Spring Street and Main Street improvements and pay app 1. Now, I think if you turn that page back to that one, Caleb, you'll be on that number 86,000 there.
Make a motion to send pay app 1, $86,260 to the board for a vote.
Brandon Crowe, second.
Motion made and seconded to recommend approval of Spring Street and Main Street improvements of pay app 1 in the amount of 86,000 and change as highlighted by trustee Caleb. Any discussion? I have a little bit on discussion on that. That is, that's about how much of the total amount that was appropriated for that? Is that about half? Or is that a third?
10%.
On the Spring Street and Main Street was only 10%?
$86,000.
Was it 80? Okay, so we got 800,000 on that improvement there?
I'd have to look, but it's somewhere in there.
I can't remember. I thought it was somewhere in that ballpark.
You muted yourself, Donnie.
I guess what I was looking at here is that the amount, is that for the sidewalk work that is being done, or is that for the intersection work, or both?
Oh, so on the itemized page, you can see the unit price that was from the bid. And then the quantity this period in the second column there
Okay,
is the charge. And you can see that it's mobilization, removing curb and gutter, removing concrete sidewalk, remove asphalt, concrete pavement. And then some other,
okay. All right,
Came in under budget?
no.
thanks for the clarification.
Yeah,
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Public Works Department report.
That was emailed out, I think Monday. I don't know if anyone had any questions on that.
I only
I
have
did-
one question.
Oh. Go ahead.
Thank you, Donnie. I just had one question. I know that you and I and some other members attended the, training for the conditional use permits. I know one of the planning commission members, one other planning commission member was supposed to go to that and didn't go to that. I think we paid for that training, right, Amy?
Yes.
So we're gonna get reimbursed for that person's training fee that didn't go from the person. I don't think the taxpayer should be on the hook for paying for training that didn't occur.
That might be something to bring up to maybe finance
Okay,
for their meeting.
the finance committee,
Would that be right, Donnie? You're on finance.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, Donnie, I guess Amy was wondering if that should go to finance. There was a member did not make the training from the planning commission. We paid for that, the village did, and I just wanted to see if we could recoup that money, because I don't think the taxpayer should be on the hook for training that was not utilized, that was paid for, and then the person didn't go.
Yeah, it could be brought up at finance or it could be brought up at a village board meeting.
Okay. So,
I mean, it's not proper for Public Works to deal with that because you said it's for planning commission that didn't show, right?
yes, it was.
So, yeah, that would be something, that you can bring up at the normal board meeting, but I did have one question, Bob. We have this company that's coming around, that doing kind of like audits of the houses and stuff like that, for making sure that the houses are properly plumbed. They came into my house. I can't remember the name of them, but I got a couple of people that were concerned about, they have been contacted. Is that company about done, or is that gonna be an ongoing thing for them being around in the area? Because what they do is they come in and they look at your meter and make sure that so that your unit can't like backfeed in if there was a reduce in pressure. And they also check, for me, they checked in my showers and make sure that I didn't have one of those hoses that could possibly, siphon water back in. Is that an ongoing thing with that company?
Yes.
Because some people were concerned that they weren't able to get into the schedule when they were given notice. And they've reached out and they only had a couple of spots open. And they said, well, we can't get there. Well, like for example, when they came over to do mine, my neighbor, she's like, well, I can't get a hold of them. I said, well, they're right here right now. And so he went over and did theirs too right away. So
Yeah, we have a lot of those where they can't make it, and then we just put those on a different category. And then they'll follow up with them at a later time, but they'll just get through their list and then they'll come back. And they really started on the west side of town, I don't know, 3 years ago maybe.
Oh,
And they pretty much across the river. So it's gonna take a little bit of time. You gotta work with people's schedules, and we get calls quite often to, is this a legitimate thing? And, I explained to them it is a state law. We do have to show that documentation to the DNR annually. And if we don't follow that, there's repercussions on the utility, not the customer.
so the customers, if they can't get fit in, because like they look on the schedule and they're like, there's only one date in the next month that they're not gonna be like shut off or anything like that. They'll just be put on a different list for a follow-up. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's right.
And they do open up different dates throughout the month.
Yeah.
So as one fills up, they'll open up more.
Another slate of available dates. And as another alternative, staff can do this as well.
Oh, really?
we can. It just became, as we started growing, we can't keep up. And
Yeah.
then we were meeting the bare minimum. And, we had to identify that. And I was like, we're gonna get in trouble here. So that's why we outsourced it. We were one of the last communities around here that did it. 10 years ago, Hudson switched for us or more. They're
Well, it was a
No.
pretty it was a pretty painless inspection and everything. The real question I think is if we can talk to that company and see if they can open up some dates, like, in the evening when people are actually home, so they're not like obligated to take off of work or whatever to make them appointments, because it's only like 8, I think, I can't remember what it was. It was 8 to 4:30 or something like that was up, or 8 to 5:30 was appointment times, and some people aren't able to make them times.
So we're always happy to come in if there's just times that don't work for people. We can do that as well, but it became, the inspection, but after the inspection, there's a bunch of paperwork we have to do. So it
Sure.
just, do we add a staff person or do we outsource it and let them handle it? And
Yeah,
that was,
I get it. I was wondering if the company is able to open up different inspection hours is all if we could possibly maybe reach out to them and see if that's a viable option, or what. But I think they were more concerned that they're not going to get their water shut off or anything like that, because they can't get, the times in for an inspection or anything like that.
right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the Public Work Department?
I guess,
Are they gonna start the sludge work then as soon as that water tank gets filled over at the
Yeah.
treatment facility?
Yep.
Is that gonna start in August then, you think?
They're gonna fill it in August to test it and then, then the pumps will be ready to go. And we can start filling that with our after product.
And then
And then,
we
We
can
wait.
unleash the new bacteria.
Then we
But we
wait.
already will
Bacteria.
immediately be getting some cost savings because we will have the truck it less.
Correct.
Almost immediately. Use players.
I was interested in this bond rating conversation. Did that call already happen or is that?
the call,
That's right.
the initial call happened, they interviewed us. Andrew and I about projects we're doing now, projects in the future, near future, so our 5-year plan came in. And so our bond rating went up. And I told Andrew to share this with the board, but she doesn't like accolades, but she deserves some accolades on this, but our bond rating went up twice in, I think, the last 3 years. So what that means is we get more aggressive financial institutions to bid on our debt. So when we go out to sell that, we're in a better position than some other communities, school districts. So it's a good thing, and it's still moving in the right direction. They don't feel that it's going to change. But when we do a big borrow like we have, it triggers us talking with Moody's to make sure that they don't feel, well, what you guys did is gonna be detrimental. And she felt like you guys are fine and it's not going to impact you negatively. It also probably will not increase, but
Cause were you a little concerned with the project spending on the lot and stuff like that, or?
no,
Just
we wanna, so that all goes through Ellers, all the projects we do funnels through Ellers before we ever bring them to the board.
Okay.
Cause the last thing we wanna do is put ourselves in a position. We postponed a lot of projects throughout the past years because things were a little, back in, I would say 2012, 13, things were really tight. We had a lot of debt. But closing TID 2 was our ultimate goal.
Mhm.
And when we closed it too, that allowed the release of some funds back into the community. But it was, there were a lot of sacrifices that had to happen, in order, we had just had to delay a lot of things. Because our priority was to get the debt paid down, which we did. And then, kind of resume some smart projects initiatives. So, next year, we're not looking to do a lot of things. So this is kind of the year to out it out.
Well, next year's gonna be out this golf course.
Sure.
Yeah,
So, I mean, that's good news, and
That is great.
you guys did a great job. Thank you.
we did work hard to get that. So we're in a good financial position now. I guess Ellers explained that to you. So happy with things.
Good conversation, and it's good to know that at least we can get it out there to everybody that we're still in a good, strong financial position for our little community by the good work of by all the people in the village. And Public Works bills.
Do we have those here? Or just?
We got a ton of bills there.
Oh, we got those.
All right, Brandon Crowe, make a motion to approve the bills as presented.
Second,
We're recommending for approval, are we not?
Yeah,
Caleb?
yep, I seconded.
Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't hear that. Motion made and seconded to recommend approval of the bills as presented. Is there any discussion? Questions on the bills at all? They all look intact? I think we were a little high on the parks budget there. If you guys look at that, I know we got bills on that, but if you look at that bill, the budget end of it, we might want to have a conversation. We're gonna be going into budget meetings starting next month. So if we're hitting our numbers and are going to exceed our budget numbers, that we might want to look at maybe putting some more rather than, into that budget for next year's 2024 budget. But that's all I had to throw out there. Okay.
only comment I had on that is I'd love to see more money go to the improvements of parks, obviously, so.
We are expected additional revenue from the state next year for our budget.
And then we are getting a separate budget line item for this golf courses. Andrew's interested in that.
One last question on the parks bill. Did we already pay the surfacing company? Because I haven't seen that bill come through.
Haven't gotten one yet.
Okay, all right. So that's still out there yet, because that I didn't see that actually on the budget end of it, but maybe I just didn't see it, or I'll have to look a little farther into it. But that's not really prevalent for this motion, but motion made and seconded to approve the bills. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Any future agenda items?
I had
think-
the one here for, to look into the planning commission member who missed training, and they just need to make sure we're reimbursed for that.
Yep, so that's for the village board.
Agenda items for this committee.
Yeah.
Anything you guys want to discuss next month? That you
Yeah,
feel-
I think we need to talk about and start prepping, maybe reviewing our budgets.
Yep, that'll be-
Just that we need to really get that out there and as to what our priorities are gonna be. I know Brandon, you had mentioned, we'd like to get some maybe work done, cleaning up underneath the bridge or whatever. We need to kind of get our heads together on what we're gonna be needing from a Parks Department. And Bob, I'm gonna defer to you a little bit on what we're looking at. I think you got a 5-year plan or something like that we're looking at for roads and what we're gonna be, talking about there. If we can get that on the agenda, right, for different street improvements or whatnot, and how that's gonna look not necessarily for next year, but, you know, isn't there a 5-year plan, right?
There is, okay.
So I did add 2 on here, 2 agenda items for the next one, just disc golf course in general, talk about that for that specific fund we're gonna have for that, or the budget line item for it. And then also we did start that giving campaign for it. So, we can talk about that. And then I did add cleaning up under the bridge, short-term plan.
I would say parks improvements in general, you know, because we do have a couple areas that need some, we gotta talk about the fence and whether or not we're gonna do anything with that, or, you know, if that's gonna get removed. I know we got some areas cleaned up this year, and it's, you know, I've heard a lot of accolades to the Parks Committee and everything on, you know, people love that pickleball court, I'll tell you that much.
They do love it. I hear it all the time.
I have never seen so many people at Veterans Park as long as I've been in town in 20 years, except for now that pickleball court is there. So,
Great.
Well, it's nice to know that.
Right.
I will share that the Champions Group is gonna make a pretty strong push toward wayfinding signage. So just new general signage in our community.
So you'll have a proposal for that though?
They will have a proposal. It'll just need to be a budgeted item.
I think it's also, I also forgot to mention this, and I probably should be put out there that they're going to do a cleanup at the river.
Yes.
And they had asked for that. Even though you don't have a kayak, you still can clean up down along they said the village park can always have people walk along and pick up along the river's edge on the village park there. And, you know, so just a quick plug for everybody. If is it August 19th?
Yes, sir.
I think they're doing one this weekend on Sunday as well. There's another one this Sunday. Facebook group was doing one on Sunday.
I'm not familiar with that one, but I just put that one out there. So it's out on Facebook, and if anybody can make it, that'd be great. Any
Yeah,
other
and
future?
also check out our new campaign on givebutter.com for the disc golf course. It's out there. We have a QR code. Okay. Got the agenda items here.
Maybe that could be let's put that down as a future agenda item too for other areas, you know, parks improvements. You know, if somebody wanted to, you know, just how would they go about that with that QR reader? Is there they scan something and they can just click to donate or something, and that money could go earmarked specifically towards the parks improvements?
Yeah, I can make, so right now, Andrea, the way it's set up is, Andrea's the only one who has access to the money. She pulls it from the site, it gets put into a general fund, and then this one specifically goes to disc golf. But I can start separate campaigns, within that site. So everyone can have their own thing, like if we wanted a line for a dog park or, something specific that we wanted, we can also auction off any old equipment we have or something like that. It has you can do that on the site as well.
Those funds all go in the general fund for next year, and you have to fight for those funds.
I'm getting a budget line item maybe.
You'll
for the
find
disc
out
golf
budget
course.
stuff real quick.
I'm getting a line item for the disc golf course.
Yeah, get ready, Brandon. Bring your A game.
Apartments.
Everybody fights for it.
I'm making that money. I'm using it.
Anything else to come in for us?
But before we adjourn, I would like to publicly acknowledge and thank Amy for all of her hard work in keeping us organized.
Thank you, Amy.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks, Amy.
You're welcome.
How do you know she doesn't delegate that to somebody else?
Yeah.
Their names on everything.
If she delegates it to somebody else, then that's good that they're getting it, that she's doing a follow-up and it's getting it.
Yeah.
She does a fantastic job,
Yes.
for sure.
That
All
being
right,
said, there'll be a motion, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Ready for a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion made and second to adjourn. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay? Motion adjourned. Gentlemen, have a great evening. Everyone, be safe out there.
Thanks,
Johnny.
Bye.